Live from Hollywood, this is the KTLA Morning Show.
Well, our adult habits form in childhood, and if a child starts the habit of taking $1 and spending $1, that child is learning the habit of living paycheck to paycheck.
And boy, it's hard to undo some of those habits later on in life. If a child creates the habit of dividing their money before they spend, this will be as natural as walking and talking. Imagine that. Joining us today with money tips for 4, 6, and 10-year-olds is financial author Mackey. This is so great that you've come. You brought this book, Design Your Child's Financial Future, and it really is a workbook.
Exactly. It's a workbook for parents to help them figure out how to teach kids about money. Because as we all know, it's something that's not taught in our daily lives or in school or anything else.
I'm embarrassed to say that as I look at your workbook, it's more like a workbook for me.
Well, it's adult information brought into the simplest form for a child to understand.
Is that sort of a problem, though, because so many adults either are not good with or are afraid of money?
You know what? We're not taught about money, so we don't talk about money. So this will, what it does is we want parents to talk about money in a positive way. We don't want them to have any negative connotations behind money, so that a child will grow up knowing that money is easy, it's easy to come by, and it's easy to use. You just have to understand how to use it.
I remember the first time I was taught that, you know, 3 nickels or 2 nickels and a dime or whatever, I thought that was better than having a quarter, you know?
Exactly.
So when is it a good time to start with these kids? You said 4? That seems so young.
As soon as possible, because if you can teach a child to not take $1 and spend $1, then they will learn how to divide up their money, then they can create wealth. If you take all your money and spend all your money, you're broke.
Right.
You will live paycheck to paycheck and be broke. It doesn't matter how much you make. It matters how much you save and invest.
You know what I find disturbing is you say it's for 4, 6, and 10-year-olds. A 12-year-old, my daughter's too late, right? She didn't get the habits young enough.
It's never too late. I didn't start until I was in my 30s, you know, so it's never too late. It's just easier when they're young because our adult habits start in childhood. So if you can create those habits around money early and teach them to give, invest, save, and spend wisely, to never take $1 and spend $1, then they are creating the habits of wealth.
You actually have broken down some tips for us. Why don't we start with some of them? The first one, you can have it, but you don't get it for free.
That has to do with allowance. I believe all children should earn an allowance because when they earn the money and then you teach them to go out and use that money and not spend your money, that's where they're going to understand the value of money. You know, it's a great concept when you go to the market and you say to your kids, or they say to you, can I have that? You go, yeah, you can have that. You need to use your money. They're like, well, I don't want to waste my money. And you're like, well, I don't want to waste my money either. So it teaches them the value of money.
Well, this brings us to the next tip. It's family money night.
That is a fun thing. The problem with money is we don't talk about it. We talk about all other kinds of things in life, but we don't talk to our kids about money. So we encourage you to talk about money. Play the game of life, Monopoly. Talk about stocks and bonds and mutual funds and how you can make money grow. That is key.
And you also talk about the importance of teaching children how to donate their money.
Because we teach the 10-10-10-70. That's 10% for giving, 10 for investing, 10 for saving, and 70 is what you're able to spend. So it teaches them to give back, pay themselves first, and live within your means.
And that's something that a 4 or 5-year-old can actually grasp all that?
They can, because what happens is you ask them, do you want to be wealthy or you want to be poor? They're like, I want to be wealthy. That sounds better, you know? And so you say, this is how you do it. And so you're just creating those habits, and you're giving them the foundation that they need to create those habits and the vocabulary. They may not understand, but they will get it later.
What about the idea and the concept of, and even as adults, I mean, when the stock market was going crazy with all the dot-coms, people were making lots of money overnight. I mean, you got to teach kids and even adults, like you say, you know, put it in a trust fund or whatever, and over time, compound interest. I mean, that's not exciting to a child. How do you get that?
It is exciting. What happens if you go to a calculator and say, if you take this $50 that you would spend on an Xbox game and you invest it in 50 years, you're going to have $10,000. So is that game worth $10,000? And then they rethink it.
Okay.
So you make it fun, bring them on the calculators, teach them how the money compounds and grows.
So it's okay to make mistakes with money, you say.
Oh yeah, and especially for kids. Let them make a mistake with a toy. $10, it breaks. Then they get upset. My son bought a toy and got it home and it broke before he even got home, and he was really upset. But buy a car and get home and it breaks, you have a lot,
It's a whole different story.
investment.
Lori Mackey's workbook is called Design Your Child's Financial Future, a workbook to help parents teach kids money management. I have a feeling that we learn a little something from it, too. Thank you so much. Really a great topic for us.
Thank you.
Great to have you here, Lori. Thanks.
Thank you.
Coming up, she's the creative mind behind the CW's new reality show, Pussycat Dolls.